What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a mid-taper on my boy, so stay tuned. He came in looking a little crazy today, so we made sure we saturated the hair and comb everything in place, making sure our canvas is nice and neat. Now that we're done cleaning up our canvas, we can move on to the back and create our first guideline using our Gold FX. Now that we're done bottoming them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You always want to make sure you create this guideline around an inch thick so you can spread the blend. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Make sure to use your opposite hand to either stretch the skin or comb the hair. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up this line and get ready for the half guard. We are right underneath the occipital bone, so you want to make sure you detail and spend as much time here. Now that the line is soft enough, we're moving on to our half guard and we're going to try to erase the line completely using our corners and the lever. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we can move on to our two guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. We're using the comb to feed the hair into the clipper while flicking out as much as we can. We're also going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get ready for the 1.5 guard. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you want to show some extra support, go follow my Instagram. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 2 guard, we can move on to our 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Always make sure to use your lever and its corners. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using your 1.5 guard, so switching over to your 1 guard all the way open and using its corners will definitely help. Now we're moving on to our 3 guard all the way open and we're making sure we flick out as much as possible while feeding the hair into the clipper using our comb.
Now we're
moving on to our clip roll comb method. We're going to use our horizontal cuts to make sure we debulk as much as possible, and our vertical cuts to make sure we blend as much as possible. Here we're debulking the sides with a little bit of clip roll comb, and we're also going to use some shear work. Moving on to the side taper, we're going to use our Gold FX to create our first guideline, and we're going to make it into a curved shape. We're also going to shave off his sideburns and make sure his face is nice and clean. Now that we're done balding him out, we're going to move on to the back ear line and line it up, starting off at the bottom, working our way to the top arch using the corners and making sure the hair feeds into the teeth of the trimmer. Now we're using our foil shavers to remove the stubble and make sure everything's nice and bald. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We also want to follow that same curved shape. Now that we're done attacking that initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. Remember, we're going to use the lever to soften up this line and get ready for the half guard. This is going to help us collect to the no guard all the way open. Now we're using our half guard to make sure the line between the no guard all the way open and the one guard all the way open is completely blended out. Using our two guard all the way open, we're going to create our fourth guideline and use the comb to feed the hair into the clipper. Remember, we're going to use this same guard and its lever to soften up the line and get ready for the 1.5 guard. Now we're moving on to the 3 guard all the way open, and we're going to continue to debulk the side taper. We're making sure the transition between the complete baldness and the bulk on top is completely smooth and unrigid. Here we're using our clipper oval comb to make the sides as clean as possible and take care of any weight lines. Now that we got our rough draft, we're detailing as much as possible with our previous guards, including the 2 guard and the 1.5 guard. Using our Gold FX, we're going to line up a C cup, starting off at the bottom and working our way to the top arch. Going back to my 1 guard all the way open, I'm using its corners to detail as much as possible. Before we do our shear work on top and on the sides, we're going to make sure the hair is nice and saturated so I can get its true length. Now that the hair is nice and saturated, I'm going to comb everything in place. Starting off in the front, we're going to grab our first guideline and show them the length we want to cut and continue it through the top of the capitus, connecting it to the sides. When using your shears, you want to make sure you grab the hair with the comb, feed it into your fingers as tight as possible, stretch it as much as possible, and cut it with your cutting blade. As you can see, I'm connecting the sides to the top and making sure everything is nice and smooth. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. If you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below of my subscriber count. I'm 100% gonna reply to it. Now that we're done with our shear work, we're going to move on to our Turkish razor and Derber premium blades and make them as crispy as possible. But before we do that, we're going to apply some shave gel so our razor could glide better. When using the razor, you want to make sure you stretch the skin as much as possible with your opposite hand and keep the razor at a 45-degree angle. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone. What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing you guys a brand new video. We're going to be doing a mid-taper on my boy, so stay tuned. We're going to be starting off by separating the top from the sides and making sure our canvas is nice and neat. We're also doing this so we don't cut any hairs that we don't want to cut. Now that we're done cleaning up our canvas, we can move on to our foreguard all the way closed and create our first guideline. We're also going to use our comb to feed the hair into the clipper while flicking out with our guard. Now that we're done creating our first guideline with our foreguard all the way closed, we can move on to our clipper oval comb method and start to debulk the sides. Make sure to use your vertical cuts to blend and your horizontal cuts to debulk. Make sure to keep a consistent shape, especially when you're using your clipper oval comb method. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now we're using our foreguard all the way open just to make sure everything's nice and blended, and we're going right above our foreguard all the way open. Moving on to our gold FX, we're going to create our first guideline in the side taper and then move on to the back. Now that we're done shaving off the sideburns and creating our first guideline on the side taper, we can move on to the back and create our first guideline in the back taper. You always want to make sure you contour these guidelines to the shape of their head or neck. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You always want to make sure you make this guideline around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're then going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up this line and get it ready for the half guard. That's going to help you connect to that no guard all the way open. Now that we're done softening up the line with the one guard and our lever, we can move on to our half guard and use our corners to erase the line completely. Now that we're done with the lower guards, we can move on to our two guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. This guard is going to help us bridge from our large guards and our smaller guards, because then we're going to soften up this line and get ready for our 1.5 guard that's going to connect to our one guard all the way open. Now that we're done softening up the line, we can move on to our 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using your 1.5 guard, so switching over to your one guard all the way open and using it as corners will definitely help. Now I'm going back to my previous guards, which is the 2 guard all the way open, and I'm making sure it connects smoothly to the 3 guard all the way open. Now that we're done with our guard work, we can move on to our gold effects and start off at the bottom and work our way to the top arch. Remember to go slow enough that the hair feeds into the trimmer, because if not, then you won't line them up properly. Be very careful near the ear area because the skin is very soft there, so you could nick them with the teeth of the trimmer. Since we already made our first guideline, we can move straight to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We're then going to close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Now we're moving on to our one guard all the way open and we're creating our third guideline. Make sure to use your corners, especially when you're on the side tapers. Now we're getting ready for our 1.5 guard and our 2 guard all the way open. Once you're done softening up the line with the 2 guard and its lever, you can move on to your 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Again, sometimes there's still a faint line after using 1.5 guard, so switching over to your 1 guard all the way open would definitely help. Now we're moving on to our 3 guard all the way open, and this is going to help us connect to the 4 guard that we used on the sides. Now we're using our previous guards to detail as much as possible because there is a few guidelines that I see. Here we're going back to our 2 guard all the way open, and we're making sure we remove this guideline in the middle. Now we're moving on to our clipper oval comb, and we're going to debulk the top right hand corner and making sure it connects to the top. Now this is the most critical part. We're going to use our 1.5 guard and our 1 guard all the way open to detail between the 2. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below on my subscriber count. I want to see if you guys are paying attention. Now we're going to move on to our thinning shears, and we're going to thin out the parietal ridge. Now we're using our 3 guard all the way open to attack that dark spot on the top right hand corner. that we're done with our side taper, we're gonna move on to his hairline and comb down his baby hairs and then line them up with our gold FX. You want to make sure you go slow enough that the hair feeds into the teeth of the trimmer, because if not, then you won't line them up properly. Now we're moving on to our Turkish razor and Derby premium blades, and we're going to make them as crispy as possible. When you're using your razor, you always want to make sure you stretch the skin as much as possible with your opposite hand, and also keep it at a 45-degree angle. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone.